all the people that are joining us and watching this on my YouTube channel. Welcome to Healing Numbers 22 live numerology readings. This is where the five of us will get together for an hour and discuss numbers, planets, and tarot cards and how they influence our life. Energy is energy no matter what modality we use. No matter how we all interpret it, it's basically will say the same. So let me introduce the readers. Okay, so we have Kraylin Christensen, who's a tarot card reader, David Woodbridge, who's an astronumerologist, Dorothy Morgan, who is our astrologer, and Adriana hasn't joined us yet, but we got our fingers crossed, hoping that she will jump in during our meeting. Now, it's really important to me that I hold a safe and comfortable platform for everybody. We're all on our own journey, but we're all in it together. So please, no judgment on others. It's all about respect and kindness. Housekeeping notes, I'm recording this. It will go on my website and the YouTube channel. So if that makes you uncomfortable, please turn your cameras off. If you have any questions, put them in the comment field or raise your hands and we will make sure that we get to them. So I want to welcome my dear friend, Karen McLeod. We've been friends for a long time. We were introduced through numerology. She came for a reading when I first opened my business in 2015. And we've been very close since then. She's the graphic designer for my calendars and my partner in crime when we get to take off and go have some fun. Now, Karen has asked a couple of questions here. She's been in the graphic design business since 1988, but also is a healing touch practitioner, level 5, specializing with animals. So she's curious if it's time to let go of the graphic design business and to really focus on the healing touch, or try to keep both of them. Also, she built, her husband and her built their home in 1987, wondering if it's time to sell and downsize and be on one floor. So she's questioning what the planets, the numbers, the tarot cards will have to say about that. Now, Kraylin always draws a card for us. Let me pull it up. Can everybody see that?
Oh. Yes. Beautiful.
Okay, this card is the Knight of Discs, and he's the healer of the deck. He represents the mastery of abundance and prosperity. Let's see. He demonstrates the capacity to manifest in the outer world in a practical and observable way. He's the harvester who is prepared to harvest that which he has cultivated. He is determined to achieve harvest in areas of health and finances. This harvest is the result of one's creative and diagnostic abilities combined. When I pulled this card, basically, I just kind of asked universe to have me pull the right and perfect card. And considering the things that you're wanting to ask about, changing career or moving into putting more energy in your, quote, healing career, I think this is a pretty good indication as we start the reading that you've definitely got the skills that if you feel pulled to move more substantially into your metaphysical healing practice, that, you know, you definitely are supported.
Great. That's really nice. That I love the horse. Karen's a big horse person.
Yeah.
So
That's so true.
that
That's
was
right.
Of course,
yeah.
Rosa. Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing is I like the yellow all around that,
Mm.
because yellow is an 11 too, so that's very spiritual.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was very good. Thank you, Kraylin, for that.
Yep.
All right, so I think I'm going to start right out with David. Let David get us going here.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Karen, as I was going through your numbers, the first thing that came up, I tend to look initially at all your core numbers on numerology and then certain planets and what have you in the astrology side of things. Your life path is a 4. It's a 31-4. So that talks a lot about practicality. It talks about a hard worker, very systematic, maybe a serious approach, but it also talks about limits. And everyone thinks, oh, we're limited. This is that. Having a limitation put on you actually makes you more, I would say, gives you the ability to really see what you're made of. Okay, so you know yourself better. You know how to operate in limitations, and so that is so it's really learning about yourself and learning to work within those limitations to actually grow. Now, one thing, it's a 31-4, and the 31 is really considered, talks about your mental superiority, which I also see through the numbers and everything. You have a, you're very, very strong mind. But I also see too, we talk about the expression. Now, the life path, just to go back, is your major lessons in life that you're here to learn, the path you're to be on. Your expression is more about your natural abilities and what you put out there, and that's a 14-5. Now, what's so interesting about this, the 14 aspect, is actually, it's considered a media number. So you have the absolute ability to present in groups, to really present yourself, to present your business. And I think this is seen quite clearly also over in the astrology sign with your sun in Taurus and Mercury. Wouldn't you agree, Dorothy?
Yes, and Venus and in the 11th house, and because
Yeah.
that's groups. Yeah, right on
Very
track.
interesting
Nice.
grouping.
Mhm.
So to get this, what I see for you, Karen, and I don't want to minimize this because I have a lot of stuff here, but generally speaking, you've got it. You've got what you need to at this point in your life. You've certainly got the infrastructure, you've got the the background, you've got the motivation, you definitely have the mind and all of this. The thing that I would say to you in your first question about your healing touch and your existing graphics business, your sun is in Taurus. Okay. Now, characteristically, you're not big on change. You like things the way they are. You tend to like things to work a certain way. Okay. My suggestion to you, it's not that you don't have the capability to go on and really expand healing touch. I would say to you, though, depending on the success, I would kind of do both and then work your way into healing touch until it almost takes over the graphic side of things. That way, you're easing your way in, you're getting used to it more so than probably you are now. If money is an issue, obviously you're going to know when it's successful for you to just drop the graphic arts. If this is success to you, is it with what you feel in your heart? I mean, the same thing. You're going to know when to change. But just based on that aspect of things, I would kind of move slowly, do both, and kind of work your way in. Is how I would see that.
Great.
That was good, David. That was
Okay.
good. You have a comment, Karen?
It's kind of the way I've been intuitively feeling. Just, I don't want to pass up these jobs that come in that are financially rewarding so I can pay my bills, but then I can do a lot, start picking up the healing touch as I go.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking of maybe running an ad in a local paper for more healing touch and see what kind of interest I get.
An ad that is so old school, but
It
for
is old
Vermont,
school.
it would
Yeah.
work so beautifully. Of course, I would
can
never
have
even
local.
think of that ever again.
Yeah,
Maybe
they-
Facebook. I mean, I don't know about you, but I used to, I'm 56, but as a boy,
Oh,
9 to 18, I used to deliver papers. There's not a paper here.
Yeah,
No one
right.
gets a paper. So maybe Facebook, maybe a website if you have a healing practitioner that you want to, jump on with. The one thing I would tell you, Karen, that's also very prominent in your numbers and everything, you work very well with groups. I don't know if you're involved with a number of groups. that you work with at all, or if
I
that's
have in the past, and then I kind
okay?
of reeled that back, of course, during COVID, but maybe I need to look into more group stuff.
I
Yeah.
would. There's a strong strength in you and in expanding your business if you would get more involved in groups in the areas that you like, as in healing, for
Right.
example.
Yep.
And kind of in your own area, since you're trying to pull in physical people to work on, right? So, or animals, whichever, however
Yeah,
you
it's
want to
people
work.
and animals. I do both. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
She does, and she's fabulous.
Oh,
That's right. You know,
Fabulous.
firsthand.
Oh, I was in so much pain the day I met you in
I
person.
know.
And she helped me out 20 minutes, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I think everybody needs to know that Karen doesn't need to be there hands-on.
Yeah.
She can do
Yeah.
distance healing.
Yep.
So if you're listening to this and you have an animal that needs help, or you need help, definitely reach out to Karen. She's helped me tremendously too. It's amazing.
Aw, thank
Amazing.
you.
So amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I concur with a lot of what David was saying astrologically.
Mhm.
Um,
I will let you take the realm. I'll come
okay.
back.
That's perfect.
Thank you, David.
Thank
Sure.
you so much.
That's great.
Yeah, it's wonderful. There's a few things that I'll get to as much as I can, whatever spirit allows, right? Some of the interesting things that I'm looking at, your chart ruler is Venus. It's through this whole system we do. It's called dispositorship. Basically, Venus is in charge of, everybody has to talk through Venus. And why I'm bringing that up, Venus and Taurus in your chart, is because you are a Taurus. Venus is right next door. So is Mercury. It's in the 11th house. All of that astrological mumbo jumbo means you must do what you're passionate about. And as things are waning in one business and your passions you're leaning more, excuse me, slowly into the other practice.
Great.
This is in alignment with who you are. So for me, at least in my scope of seeing things, I can't say exactly when, you'll flip a switch. But what I will tell you is, since Venus is the final dispositor in your astrology chart in Taurus, it represents you absolutely doing what you love.
Mhm.
You have to do what you love. And if you're, we will do, I call it the W-2 jobs, but you don't have that. You have your own business. But for other people who are listening, who are in a similar situation, they have the W-2 jobs, is what I love to call them, but want to shift into something more that isn't a W-2 job. This is a hard shift to make. It feels, we don't feel the security that we do when we have regular work, but you have to, and I know you've been doing that. You've, sort of phasing one out, at least getting the jobs that mean something to you in the graphic design, and then doing more and more into the animal work and the people work and the energy work. And that is just what it always needs to be, no matter what you are focusing on, because you have a very strong Venus, which for you is earthy grounded. You've got to do what you love. You got to do what you're passionate about, and you do that, and you will always be financially supported, because that all those Taurus energies, all those Taurus planets say that. And
if
then
you do what you love,
yes,
the money will come.
exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. I lost the chart. Hold on.
I'm sorry, Dorothy.
There we go. No, I
jumped
lost.
in.
It's hard to have you guys. I can't see you guys. I like to see you, but when I click on my software, then you all go away. And I was trying to go back and forth. I just have to leave it alone.
If you hit the Windows key on your keyboard and the
Mhm.
left or right arrow, it'll split your screen.
What?
Yep.
That's why we have the young ones around, Dorothy. She teaches us.
I'll do it when I'm done talking, in
Yeah,
case
that's
I
okay.
Yeah.
blow myself out of here.
Yeah.
The window key and oh my God.
That's so cool. Yay.
Can't wait to try it. Anyway, sorry. I'm such a geek like that. Karen, and I bring that up because this summer, and this is for everybody, but we'll look at you specifically. We have lovely Venus retrograde coming up on July 22nd through September 3rd. So here's some other dates: June 5th until October 8th, Venus is in Leo. moving through a bunch of numbers, will come back and go forward. It's just that what the retrograde does. And that is going on. Some of this is going on in your first and your second house, right? A lot of it's in the second house, which Venus is naturally in charge of. She wants us to focus on what I just told you, what I love, what I value, how I use my skills and talents to earn a living. I've got to be happy about it. I've got to be passionate about it. And Venus only retrogrades in Leo once every 8 years.
Oh, wow.
So this has not happened. It happened 8 years ago, about the same time frame, the June, July time frame. And so you can maybe look back and see what you were reconsidering, how your passions were shifting and changing at that point in time. So
Right.
Venus being in charge of your chart and Venus in the sky retrograde this summer, right now, while you're actually asking some big questions right here. This is perfect. Follow your heart. So we don't even need to see the astrology to know that, but the astrology is confirming that. And again, between especially July 22nd and September 3rd, while Venus is retrograde, we are to take our time. We are to slow down. No rash decisions, anybody, but especially you, Karen, because it's in your second house. So you're going to be reconsidering, what do I value the most? You'll either get really good graphic design jobs that you absolutely love, or you're going to get some that you say, oh, this is fine. I need the money. I'm going to do it. And then it turns out to be, a mess. And you're like, oh, okay, spirit.
Yeah.
Show me what I need. I don't know which way it will
That's
go.
good.
But it will
That was
give
good advice.
insight. It'll give you
Yeah.
insight.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
That's it for that clump right there. I have more about home and other things.
Nice.
But
Thank you,
I'll pause right
Dorothy.
there for now.
Thank
And-
you very
Thank you,
much.
Dorothy.
That was wonderful. Karen, do you have anything you'd like
Yes.
to bring in with that?
Ask. I did talk
Um,
fast.
Yeah, no, that was very clear, and I made a
Okay.
lot of notes, so.
Good.
Okay, good.
Good.
Thank you.
Craylin, have you drawn a card? Nice.
She's like, absolutely.
This one I think is going to shift kind of to your second kind of question about your home. Because the Lovers is about personal relationships.
Mhm.
It looks to appreciating opposites in people. It represents kind of a Gemini or the twins energy where you're kind of waffling back and forth about decisions. And since this home change concerns you and your husband, I would say that this card is saying that he will be obviously a big part in the motivation and the timing in making this change for you. I don't know if it's going to be, I'm not real good on timing. This is a 6 card.
Yeah,
And I'm still learning the energies of the numbers myself, but it is a major arcana. So this is something that can go for an extended period of time. So it could represent, that you're going to be searching all summer, but the decision, obviously, you'll find the right perfect thing combined, if that makes sense.
does.
So that's what this one would represent. Any questions?
No.
It almost feels like you need to follow your heart. If you think about
Mhm.
what David said, what Dorothy
Yeah.
said, what Craylin said, it's all about listening to your intuition and following your gut and your heart, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially in
and
the
the home-
Leo season.
Yeah, and
Right.
definitely, the energy here, because it's about a couple or twosomes, it's definitely a relationships card. I think the move will substantially, I want to say, enhance,
Mhm.
your home situation and your relationship with your husband.
It's great. I'll take
That's-
that.
Yes, nice. That's wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, Craylin.
Yep.
Adriana, you want to jump in?
Yeah. It's really interesting that everybody's basically talking about following your heart. So a few years ago, about 5 years ago, you had a soul changing year with the energy of 2 being present. So I decided to look into the soul changing year. How long has it been that you've been doing the healing touch?
I've been doing it for 12 years, but I
12?
really started to get into it for people 5 years ago. Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
that would be right. Yeah.
So in this, when I was looking over your soul changing year, you have you had a bunch of energies basically screaming at you to get rid of self-doubt. When I was looking over the energy, it kind of felt like you were frustrated, almost overwhelmed with everything that you have taken on. Maybe a little bit tired, like you want to maybe retire with graphic design, or just do less. Like you wanted to do less, but also you are made to do more. You're made to work and to really, I don't go at really just go after what it is that you see fit. So those two kind of energies together could almost seem frustrating. Like I want to chill out, but I'm constantly going.
Right.
So when I was looking over everything, a lot of my notes were just what were you saying to yourself? In like a negative self-talk kind of way. And it's not like, oh, I'm stupid, but oh, I can't do this, or oh, I can't take it to these levels, or oh, I have to do this because I have these bills to pay, and da 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 da. And basically what I was hearing was just let go of the reasons or the excuses or whatever it is that we choose to put in place of something. You're facing a lot of challenges with going after what it is that you truly want. Even if it was just internally, like tossing and turning just in your soul with, do I know that I want this? Do I know if this is right for me? And you know in your spirit, this is what you want.
Right.
So even with the questions that you've asked now, especially regarding the graphic design and the healing touch business, I genuinely feel like you know exactly what you want. There may be some doubt, some fear, some what if it doesn't work out, or what if, it doesn't take off right away, or let it go. You even in just your big four, your chart, your heart's desire is the 22-4. So
Yeah.
you are someone who can build something from the ground up, even when everyone else thinks it's impossible. They don't even see how you connected the pieces, but you've connected it all. Another thing that I got was patience, learning to just sit and fully see the thing through before allowing yourself to get discouraged, or before you start beating yourself up. Because in your your total expression number is a 5, which 5 energetically is impatient. I want what I want, and I want it now, and I want to go here, and I want to do this, and how are you going to tell me that I can't? And even just with like manifesting things or putting things into fruition and starting a task or something, 5 gets really impatient. Like, are we done yet? And a couple years ago, like in this soul changing year, on a physical, mental, and spiritual plane, you had 5 energetically, 12/3, and then 3 energetically on the physical, mental, and spiritual. Those energies together are impatient. 3 just wants to do and create and have fun and be all over the place. And 5 is like, yeah, I'm right there with you. Let's do it. You want to do it? We're doing it.
Yes, it is.
But
Oh.
you were also challenged with like the number 0, which is basically anything can be thrown at you. You've had 13/4 energy, which is like stop or think you start something and it comes crashing down. And just because it comes crashing down doesn't mean that it's done and over with. It's just a new starting point.
Right.
And I feel like those instances where you may have to stop for a minute and then come back to it, or restart the thing, rethink it. You're really good at it, but I feel like it frustrates you almost. Like, I really put a lot of thought into this, and now that's not the way I'm supposed to go.
Right.
So with you, I would just say, definitely when I was looking at your soul changing year and even just your overall chart, just be patient with it. Things are coming for
Mhm.
you. They have come for you. And you're perfectly capable of creating all that it is that you desire, even with the house that you and your husband are potentially moving into. It'll happen in its own time. Don't feel like you have to rush it,
Yeah.
but know that so long as you're putting it out there as far as what you want and how you want the things, it's all coming to you.
Mhm.
So there's really no need to get frustrated or anything. It's all happening. It's just maybe, I don't know, get like a lounge chair and just go.
Yeah. Good.
Thank you,
Sounds great.
Adriana. Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh,
Great.
Kraylin, you have a card for us.
Yep. The Ace of Discs represents like new
Oh.
beginnings.
Oh,
But this is on a physical plane. It's grounded, it's practical, it's organized. Let's see, it's success on all levels: mental, spiritual, physical, and emotional. And this comes up again as a success card for manifesting what it is you truly want. It radiates a higher, the higher aspect of oneself and brings it into physical manifestation. So again, the cards are just really supporting that, transition. It's transitional time, and
yeah.
it's really supporting that things are going to come to you in a physical way, the things that you are wanting to do. So this is a 1 card, and I call this stepping stones, because it represents energy that can be quickly generated if you want it to be.
Yeah. Wow.
Any questions?
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Mhm. No questions. That totally makes sense also.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
We like it. We like it when a 1 comes around, when an ace
Yeah.
or 1 comes around, because
Mhm.
it is helping. The theme of your year this year, 2023, is that 7, and that's all about self-reflection, looking within, trying to figure out things, researching, taking it a little bit deeper than what you would have last year or what you're going to next year. So it's important that, like everybody's saying, that you remain patient. You can't push this, right? You can't swim upstream, because then it's not going to, it can't come to you. So
Right.
you just have to keep your dream going, keep it going in your mind's eye. You're a great manifester. You've got all the energies to manifest, and you know that. You work with
Yeah.
that.
Right.
So it's a matter of putting that all down on paper, exactly what you want, tweaking it until you feel that's right, and then putting it away and letting the universe take over.
Yeah.
I feel like July, August, and September are quite significant months for you in 2023. I don't know what the planets are saying or what David has to say when he puts everything together, especially July. There's change coming in, or there's a restlessness. There's a feeling that you want this change to come in, but there's a break on it. And that's a good thing, right? That
Right.
pause that the universe gives to us. Because if we got everything we wanted, then boy, we would be in a mess.
Right,
So
that's the
it's-
retrograde planets, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
What that is.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the break is on. It's allowing you to look at things that more expansively, about the change that you want, because it's a 14-5, but it's not going to move really fast. It doesn't want it's
No.
patience. Everybody's so correct when they're telling you about the patience.
Mhm.
And then August is the 6th month for you. So
Yeah.
that represents the card that Kraylin pulled,
Yeah.
which is home and family.
Yeah.
And again, I see an undercurrent of that 14.5. I see the undercurrent of 14.5, July, August, and September. So there's that feeling of wanting the change, the restlessness, but it's not going to come as quickly as you would like to see it.
Mhm.
Yeah, is that what the planets are saying, Dorothy? July,
Mhm.
August, and September.
Well,
A
it
little
does
bit.
with that Venus retrograde. And again, I mean, it goes retrograde July 22nd, but it's it's in a shadow phase a week or so before
Denise
that. Right?
Sullivan?
Hmm? What's that?
Oh, I think
I
that was
thi-
Denise's,
I think it's somebody in
Oh, okay.
Crayolas feel. If there's background noise, just put your microphone on. Click it off. so
I
that-
wasn't even looking at you guys. So I was like, what? I'm sorry.
But you can see us now, right? Charts.
Yes,
and us?
yeah, I got the dual screen,
Whoa.
but I was looking at the chart. I wasn't looking. Yeah, because in that retrograde period, so actually since June 19th, Venus has been in the numbers that it's going to retrograde back through. People call it the shadow. But it's
I'm
to
sorry?
me, it's not.
I have two,
Denise-
but Dr. Chatterjee is the main one.
Denise needs to, Dennis
Yeah.
is that Dennis or Denise's iPhone needs to be muted.
Correct.
So it creates that slowing down period so we don't move too fast. And, aside from that, Saturn is coming towards getting closer and closer to the midheaven. When you guys were talking, when you and Adriana were talking about 5 years ago, I looked back, and Saturn is important for steady growth and maturity, things like that. And it was on an angle 5 years ago. It was on just coming above the horizon. It was on the IC, it's called. And so it was just coming above the horizon then. So that's when you would have all of a sudden felt drawn to do something that, just feels more soul-centered. And in next year, 2024 is when it will make it exactly to the very top of the chart, which is the career place. Represents your career, your reputation, your spouse. Straight opposite that is home. And so what this tells me, so this isn't right away, but what this tells me is because you're looking for a new home,
Right.
you and your husband, that you're also looking at how is my career going through its own maturity,
Mhm.
right? And maturing, whether it's the either career that you have. And so we are looking at that. And so the connections will be in April of 2024 and September of 2024, right?
Huh.
And then into the year after that. But that doesn't mean things don't happen now. It just means,
Right.
like Sue just said, it's just a nice, slow, steady pace.
Yeah.
But coming back to July and August, while Venus is retrograde, in your second house of what you value,
Yeah.
putting all of these two things together, that's what it's doing for you. It's like this is your personal journey, reevaluating what do I value? What do I value? And we're all, even no matter when anybody's watching this recording, just to know that in this summer of 2023, that is what we're all being shown. What is it that we value more than other things? We're getting to sift and sort and choose what is of importance to us. And Karen, since this is where it is for you, it's even more important. And it's Saturn simultaneously. Saturn is knocking on the door of the midheaven and saying, this is about your profession, your reputation, your career, and discovering and figuring out what home and family, what your home is like. Saturn doesn't like excess. So when Saturn does get to that midheaven for sure, it says, this is what we need.
Yeah.
It does not want huge. So you're going to be downsizing.
Yeah. Sue is
Please.
laughing because I've been doing nothing but cleaning crap out 36 years.
The
in a-
maniac. She's crazy. She's throwing
I-
everything
Doing it.
away.
I hired a good friend and she's like, what's this? You don't need this. We have filled a dumpster 2 times so far.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
then I've got boxes in my car that are going down to a Goodwill
Mhm.
place today.
Yeah.
I don't know where this energy is coming from, but
Well, now we do.
it's the planets.
It's the planets. We have a new moon. We have a new moon on the 3rd, and it's right
Yeah.
on your ascendant. So that's important too.
Yeah.
On your
Yeah.
ascendant in your first house. And that's, you have Cancer rising, Cancer rules the home. So this new moon that's coming, you're feeling, we can look at it from all kinds of different angles, but you have the new moon right there. So it's like, oh, I need a fresh start. I'm not moving yet, but
But-
we're creating a fresh start. So this will take a process. Approximately, this process can take about 9 months, but I don't know what your timeline is. We can talk about that some other
Yeah,
day.
no,
That's
that would be
wonderful.
April. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And what's 9? 9 is endings and completions.
Mhm.
Let's look
Right.
at the lunar gestation cycle is 9 months and 9 months and 9 months into 3
Right,
years. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Wow.
David, you have something you'd like to jump in and say?
Yes, Karen, when I'm looking at, we'll start with numerology here for just a quick bit. So right now you've got your last cycle is a 22, okay? And that's the master number. And the thing that, we've had other people out here, and I know I've counseled a few, when they see a master number, they get all excited, you know? You have a lot of spirituality in your transits. You certainly have the 11 going through there as well. So these are pretty strong spiritual numbers. The 22 master numbers tend to be a calling. You're here for a purpose on this earth. This is not just, a vacation ride for you this time around.
No.
So when you're going all the way back to your life path is a 4. A lot of times those 4s are helping us to create a foundation within limitations that you can work yourself up to being a 22, believe it or not. I've seen this quite a bit. But also your last pinnacle is an 8. So that's all about, building and financial security, which goes along with your Taurus, your Sun in Taurus, and working with groups. You're in the 11th house, and Dorothy will probably back me up on this. You're here when you're that far down or in the chart, you're here for a purpose, and it's to actually help the collective. So what I'm saying with all this is simply this. You're working your way up here, and I think I said this before, but master numbers are something that are obtained usually a little bit later in life. When people get them when they're young, it's like they don't have the life experience or the background to even really manage them. A lot of times it's the lower number that they take. So that's not your case. You're actually, as I always say, you're turning up the volume here a little bit, and you're getting ready to, go off the chute, so to speak. Okay. So where I'm going with this, you are in it, as Sue, I believe, said, you're in a 7-year. This is not a year for material gain for you. This is a year of planning. It's a year of study. It's actually a year to connect with your spiritual self. And your business, your life, and all your numerology and a lot of your astrology point to this. In other words, this is one of the reasons you are here on this earth right now. So when you look at all that, you have the Taurus, your ability to build. You've got that media number, which your ability to go out. It is kind of your I think right this year for me, when I'm looking at everything, this would be your planning year. So this is the year to plan out what this business means. With that 22 sitting there since you've been 60, and you've had it in other numbers, it's in your solars as well. But generally speaking, this is the year to figure out, and as they say, go big or go home. Okay.
Right.
I think I've told Kaylin that in her numerology.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So that's what it's telling me for you. So what I'm saying with all this is simply this. First of all, absolutely believe that you can do this. Your numbers and your astrology are behind you to do so. You're being asked to create something that's going to be lasting after your lifetime. So something physical. Okay. It can be a business that you've created that's going to go on. It can be a book. It can be, there's just so many things under that category, but you just have to understand that's your purpose here is to do that. Now, having said all that, you are, and it seems like you are, one of the things I would caution you on in 2024 is, to me, when I'm looking at both the astrology and the numerology, it's a year of diversity. So you are at extremes. Okay, it's a 8-year. You're there to build, and Dorothy is right on. It's about career. It's about all that.
Right.
You're also being called to help family. You're also being called to potentially help those that are in your circle, that type of thing. What I would say to you on your 8-year is this: balance, grounding, making sure you are even keeled. You need time alone to process, because there's going to be a lot thrown at you. And make sure, especially as a spiritual person, you're like a sponge. You take a lot of that in. So you have to understand how to really, pull in your aura, if you will, and not let all that stuff affect you. I do have 2 dates for you for your house. So I
Oh,
will raise my
nice.
hand and I will give you 2 dates.
Lovely.
June and November of 2024 are good times for you to move,
Okay.
June.
just so you
June
know.
and November. Yeah.
Mhm.
June and November. So that I would say that for you. But definitely be careful in 2024. As much as you can expand and really take off, which is all right there, you can also fall and, you know, crash.
Yeah.
And it's really something you've got to have a very level head. You have to really, and Tauruses usually do. You're usually
Yeah.
quite grounded as a Taurus. The other thing, and then I'll shut up here for a minute.
Good. It's all good.
One thing that is very prominent, your south node is in your 11th house, and which means your north node is in your 5th house. So you're trying to work toward your north node usually. Okay, that's kind of the idea. And what that's basically saying is you can get really tied up, although it doesn't seem like you are, really tied up in groups. Maybe you have in the past, and to the point your identity is part of that group, and you're being, you know, what you're working toward is to be your own person. Okay, groups are important. They're great for business. They're great to boost you up. They're good to have around you. It's all positive. Just don't lose yourself in them and your identity is what I'm saying.
Right.
So that's my words of wisdom at the minute.
Great.
That's
Thank you.
really good, David.
Sure.
Thank you. Karen, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, November's hunting season, so that would not be a good time to move. I would be doing it alone then. Usually gone for 2 to 3 weeks. No, anyways, but you know, set my intention for June.
There you go.
Oh, there you
But
go.
thank
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
perfect. Perfect. What is that 9? What were we talking about? And I said 9 is about endings and completions. Dorothy, when did that cycle through?
Well, when we start with every new moon, 9 months later is the next
okay.
cycle that's
Okay.
related to each new moon. It's a
Yeah.
long,
Okay.
yeah, it's a process. Yeah, and
Okay.
it goes
All
on and
right.
on. Kraylin has something up.
Yeah, Kraylin, let's see what you got.
Okay, I have another stepping stone. This is a 5, and it's Saturn in Leo.
Oh.
Stepping stones for me, when they indicate something that people might consider, let's see, negative, to me, they're releasing, or they're telling you why something is taking longer, which we've been talking about. This is kind of like causing you some anxiety. It's energetically experienced, and it's holding back. You know, you're having troubles or trying to make decisions, but you know, you might be a little frustrated because you really don't see a clear path at the moment. That's Saturn, and they've talked about Saturn in everything. It is the experience of having abundant energy, but not knowing what to do with the energy, or it's a lot of energy that's being contained or held back. So, you know, you were talking about, you know, you've got all this abundant energy, you don't know where it's coming from. Well, from frustration a little bit, but being a 5, it also connects with some of the other numbers that have, 5 has come up a couple of different times. So it's called strife. And basically, it's just kind of like validating sort of where you are in the moment. And Saturn is slowing down this process, but it's just slowing you down. It's not stopping you. Saturn to me is a learning planet. It's a lesson planet. It's why it slows you down, is because there's something that you need to figure out or to learn before you could make that decision to move in the direction. I don't feel obviously that it's about your talents, because I feel you're gifted in the graphics and in the healing. So it's more about self-confidence, maybe. And that Saturn's making you look at some of the blocks you may have internally that's creating that hesitation
Mm,
that you're experiencing and choosing which way you want to go.
Mm.
yeah.
I call.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say we call Saturn sometimes. It's either learn or burn. It's
Yeah.
okay.
That's good.
That's
Yeah.
how it goes. It requires you to follow. It is not asking usually.
Mhm.
Yep, yep.
That's
what
interesting.
That's what that means.
And that number 4 that's in your life and your heart's desire and life path is structure. And sometimes it's hard to take the blinders off and look elsewhere because you like the straight and narrow.
Structure. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
And the other thing too is your life path is the 31-4, and David and Danielle and I learned in our last class that that's the spiritual warrior.
Yeah.
mm,
So the spirituality is why you came. This is your
Yeah.
life path. This is what you, and you've always known that since you were young. Things
yeah.
have happened to you that you knew that you were connected on a deeper level.
Right. Because I love that first card. That was me. You know, I'm always into nights and I'm always attracted to that. And I did a meditation probably about a year ago, and we went up to these different houses that are way up, and we were asked to bring back something. And I'm like looking around, there's all these books, and there was a sword in the corner. And that's what I was told to bring back, was a sword.
Mm.
Oh, I thought you
So-
brought back a knight.
Mhm.
I do that.
Yeah, I wish, right? But I
Viking
the
history, bring
sword
'em.
was for teaching, for
Right.
learning and having this sword for protection for other people. And yeah,
Strength for yourself.
that's a big,
Yeah.
a big
Yes.
frustration is when people don't understand what we do and they just say, oh, she's crazy.
Mhm.
And then they get a healing or they break down and do something, and then they're like, oh, this works. And it's, you know, and it's not about ego, it's about everybody has their own guides that we're working with in universe. You know, it's not me, it's me helping to access who they have protecting them and working with them personally.
Well, you also are aware that you've moved into your wise woman,
Yeah.
the crone phase of your life.
The crone, yes.
And so, you know, as we get into that phase of our life, we're almost pushed, whether we want to be or not, into going to the direction that we are here to do.
Yes.
So you can sit there like I do with my feet, you know, no, but eventually your knees are going to give out. You're going to have to move forward. It's what we do as crones. It's allowing our wisdom to go out into the world to help everybody that needs our assistance.
Mhm.
Starts around
Right.
50
In
at
that
the first
nurturing
Chiron.
way. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other thing too is the cycle that David was talking about, the 22-4. You just went into that. I mean, in 2017. So this is new. It
How long
takes a
does the
while.
cycle
Like
last like that?
like he says that
Right.
that will be for the rest of her life. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That
That's
22-4.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but it takes time, like David says, to get it going, to understand what it wants from you. And once you get it, then you'll be able to settle into it. But I think also, I think the 14-5s and all that we're seeing with the break on, the retrogrades, all that, again, is helping you to slow back, pull back a little bit so that you can be more of an observer rather than a doer, which is the 7. 7 is the observer.
I might just add one thing for Karen. Where your sun is located, the 11th house, as I said, and Dorothy can back me up, is all about groups. Part of your, I would say you have a strength, not only to be the communicator, there's no question about it, but I would say to you, utilize those groups as leverage. And so when you get, look around in your area, look around online, start, use them for, advertising, for finding clients, there's a whole, papers really don't work all that much anymore. I mean, unless you've got a group of people, you're just reaching a smaller group of people than what you potentially could, is what I'm saying to you.
Right.
So maybe during this rest part of this 7 years, start planning in terms of maybe working with someone else to help you develop, what that is, and getting it out on the internet to bring the people in that you're supposed to help. would be. So I guess what I'm saying with all that is you are set and ready in a group environment for leverage. So use
Okay.
your leverage. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
That's a good point, because if you went on Facebook, you could always boost it or post, well, however they do it, towards animal groups, you know,
Yeah.
for your healing, veterinarian people, or, you know, whatever.
Right.
You could make it go to those places.
Right, because you have a
however they do
niche,
that.
so you know what
Yeah.
your niche is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
you don't have to
Mhm.
figure that piece out.
That, yeah, most definitely, and that's a tough one.
Mhm.
Kraylin?
Well, the Lover's card also represents, you know, relationships, but partnerships.
Oh,
Mm.
yeah.
This may be a time when you find somebody, maybe another healing touch person, that you form a collaboration to do your groups.
Yeah.
Something on that order, because that's one of the things that the lovers represent is,
Mhm.
you know, being drawn into new relationships, and they don't necessarily have to be, quote, romantic. They
Right.
can be business, they
Right.
can be partnerships, they could be good friendships, but that
Yeah,
would be something that is also indicated at this time.
that's what
Mm.
Dorothy and I always say. Relationships is such a big word,
Really
and
is,
everybody
yeah.
just goes right to the lover or the partner. And no, 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 no. I mean, I think about how many relationships you have in one day.
Yeah.
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 Big.
When Karen, when you were talking about just all the stuff that you've accumulated over the years and you
Yeah.
getting rid of stuff, I feel like that is a necessary part of where you are right now, just getting rid of stuff.
Yeah.
Not only for the move, but I don't know your story really, but when you said just the amount of things that you had, I went back and looked at your chart, and I feel like you had to learn how to be self-sufficient at a very early age. You had to learn how to take care of yourself, and really, like, you may have even felt that you had to prove yourself to others. Like, I am capable, I can do this. And so I feel like a lot of the things that you have acquired, and even the work that you do, the ways that you busy yourself, it's all related to just like your younger years, especially like your childhood, just being able to provide. It's like, okay, so I was talking to my sister about this the other day. Just the struggle mindset of everything. Like I am in a position where I'm no longer like struggling how I was, but I still behave in the same way. I will still acquire as much as I can to make me feel safe and secure. Even though I know that I am, but it's just like, get as many things as you can. And even with this move that I just had, I'm unpacking things and I'm like, why did I take this with me? Like, get rid of it. But it all serves as like a reminder to me when I was just throwing things away, just how much I was just holding on to feel like I had things, or to feel like I was doing enough. And I feel like at this stage in your life, you know, you have done enough. You are doing enough, and you will continue to do enough, probably more than enough. So let things go. But that's just a thought that I had when you were talking about getting rid of things. I don't know if it's therapeutic for you as far as really releasing and fully hashing out those kind of inner feelings.
I'll speak for her. This is totally out of the norm. She doesn't throw things away. I mean,
Yeah.
this is totally out of the norm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I have
could
so
it-
much. Yeah, all my work from, even from before I started my business in '88, I have artwork and huge flat file, and it's got to go. Maybe I have to take some pictures of it and then let it go. But
Trust
Yeah.
me.
when I moved to
that's
Pittsburgh,
good.
and just had nothing. And my parents said, we paid for your college the first time, we're not doing it this time. And I had to prove myself. I had nothing. I moved into an apartment with no furniture. And a friend brought a mattress and threw it on the floor for me. I had nothing, zero.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
so it was a lot of work. It was,
Yeah.
And it's meaningful to you.
yeah.
But just like with all the things that like that 14-5 energy, the stop and go. I feel like those stop periods are periods where it's like, okay, what am I holding on to? What am I carrying with me? What is what is weighing on me, even if it's just the stuff. Trust me, moving, my boyfriend is like, get rid of this bins. It's bins of folders from high school with like all of my notes, and like high school and college, just all of my notes and the classes that I've taken. And to me, I'm super proud of it. I'm like, I'm a genius. I'm so smart. Look at all these things. Like I learned all of this. But I'm like, I'll go back to it one day. A lot of the things I haven't touched in over 10 years. But I'm like, I'll go back to it. I'll keep it. I know that I learned that before.
It's Taurus. Yeah, Taurus does that, and
Yeah.
Taurus loves things, and it doesn't matter
Yeah.
what they are. They if
Yeah,
you're not
possessions are
cautious, you
important for
can
Taurus. Yeah.
right, you can lean towards hoarding and certain things.
Mhm.
You know, I know a few people like that, and family members, and even with not just besides having 3 planets in Taurus, the South Node. I do this because that's the shape of it.
Yeah.
It's like a horseshoe upside down. It holds things. The
Oh,
South Node
Oh,
is
yeah.
past life stuff. So you have a past life. This is psychological, but you have a psychological past life connection with things, and things make you feel secure. And that really adds to the 3 planets that you have in Taurus. So and you want to move towards the North Node, like David was saying, and the North Node is Scorpio, and that means, oh, I can transform this, I can evolve, I can change this into something else. And that's where the eclipses, we have eclipses. We can talk about this at another time, Karen, but there's a big eclipse October 28th, and it's right smack dab on your Venus. It's important. It's a full moon lunar eclipse. And if we were doing a private session, I would talk about what happened 18 months ago at the new moon that was in that same place. That's a lunar
That's
gestation
interesting.
cycle. So patterns and cycles. Anyways,
Right.
you are in a year of, the first step you're doing is what you're doing is like, let's clear the deck. I would say that's a New
Yeah.
England, that's a Seacoast comment for me.
Yeah.
Clearing the deck.
You're right.
You know, the old fishing boat, you got to clear the deck every time you're done. But you got to do that, and that's where you're at. And it's a natural process, even if it feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that is-
Upcycling is great. I just took an
Yes.
old saddle and I'm having it redesigned into a purse because it's been
What?
sitting in my closet. Yeah, it's been sitting in my closet.
Wow.
So, I
Yeah,
found
no,
it.
I don't know anything about horses. I mean, like, that blows my mind.
And so, yeah, it was taking up space, and I'd much rather have a new purse. It means something to me. Yeah. So,
Right. Yeah.
Gosh.
all of this is happening this year. It's really an interesting
Yeah.
year.
It's
So-
exciting.
Taurus sounds like number 2 for me.
It's a second zodiac sign.
It collects everything has a memory, and it just
Right.
collects, and it
Yes.
feels so everything. I mean, you could walk into somebody's house with the live 2 energy, and they could pick up something really tiny and tell you where it came from.
That's
and
Taurus.
what-
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
That is Taurus.
Adriana.
Just really quickly, because I know we're running down on
Right.
time. Do you know if you have a lot of mugwort around where you are?
I had some growing, but I don't. I wonder if that's a nasty weed I have that's come into my garden.
It's a really
rid of it.
prominent weed. It's one of the most invasive
Right.
species on the East Coast. If you see it, it has a silver bottom on it, and it's kind of, I can't really explain it. I just know it has a silver bottom. I know when I'm driving on the highway, I just see it. Silver bottoms. Look at the mugwort. When Kraylin mentioned being in your crone years, I don't know. That word makes me feel weird. I think it's because of the negative connotations that people have put on them. But just being in your wiser years, I actually would recommend like picking some mugwort and just putting it in your house. Maybe like eucalyptus, like hanging it upside down, or even putting it in a vase. But mugwort is the crone mother. It speaks to wisdom and longevity and patience, and it reminds you of all that you have kind of passed through. And mugwort very specifically speaks to woman wisdom. So I would absolutely, whenever you're feeling some type of doubt or you're unsure of how to proceed, I would recommend having mugwort around you and
Okay.
just meditating, looking at it and maybe meditating on the mugwort. But yeah, that was just my final piece for you.
That's
Great,
wonderful.
thank you.
We don't mind being called old crones. We really do.
Realistically, historically, anyone who's been a crone, anyone who has been labeled as a crone is one of the most powerful women.
You're right.
That
You are
so
so right. Yes, yes, ma'am. Karen, do you have anything you'd like to say before we close our meeting?
I just want to say thank you to everybody. This was amazing from my heart. It just confirmed a lot of things that I think about and who I am, and it's I have some great stepping stones, and the cards that were pulled were amazing. So
Nice. I know you were looking forward to that, the cards, to see what was being pulled. Yeah. So I want to thank everybody so much for coming. Again, if you're interested in having a reading from any of us, private reading, you can get the information on my YouTube channel, which if you just do Sue Coffin, it will pop up and all the information of everybody is there. Our next group will be July 15th, and we're going to be speaking with Danielle, who is from California. Her questions are going to be, they revolve around business and entrepreneurial business, but she's also just launched some apparel, a line of apparel. So she's questioning about the name of it and all that, which I'll send to all the readers so we can all check into it. And relationships, she's interested in relationships. So let us be the light for all those who feel like they are in the dark. Let us bring happiness and smiles to people who need it. And we will all see everybody again on July 15th. Thank you,
everybody.
Thank
Namaste.
you.
Dorothy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.